Welcome, everyone, to the Q&A session for our upcoming course, The Toltec Secrets of Dreaming, the 7-week journey to access healing dream states and your intuitive powers to transform reality and manifest your desires. I'm Lisa Bonis, and I'm really looking forward to this Q&A conversation for the Shift Network, where we'll explore the teachings of Sergio Magaña and address questions about his upcoming 7-week course, The Toltec Secrets of Dreaming, which begins Wednesday, October 14th. And a little later, I'll explain how you can participate in the course, even if you can't attend the live sessions. But first, I want to introduce our guest. A world-renowned Mexican healer, Sergio Magaña was surrounded by teachers of ancient Mexican spiritual and healing practices for most of his life. Although raised in a Catholic home, he was initiated into a 5,000-year-old Toltec lineage which influenced the Mayan and Aztec cultures, and was trained in the Tol shamanic oral tradition, which has been handed down for over 1,400 years. And in just a few minutes, we're going to open up for your questions. But first, I want to bring Sergio on the line. Welcome, Sergio. It's wonderful to spend some time with you this afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me, and really happy to be doing these questions and answers. I hope that it gets to the best result for people when they get solved their questions. And I just want to open with a Nahuatl phrase that was the original language that was spoken by Toltecs, by Aztecs, that it goes like Tin Tin Palin Panoltia Chicahuatica. That means that we ask to the great energy mother and father for the power and the abundance for all of us today.
That is a beautiful sentiment. Thank you for opening the space that way. So now we have the rest of our time together to dive into our viewers' questions for Sergio as we prepare for his upcoming course. Again, that's called The Toltec Secrets of Dreaming, which begins Wednesday, October 14th. And if you want to check out the website and follow along, learn more about the 7-week course, you can visit toltecdreamingcourse.com to see the full description. So let's go ahead and get into some questions. If you have a question for Sergio, just type it in. I'll be happy to pass it along. And in the meantime, we do have some questions that have already been submitted, so let's start there. Here's a question from Ruth, who wants to know, how ancient is this type of dreaming, and is it still practiced today?
Okay. The oral tradition differs a lot of what history says. For example, I learned from my teachers of the tradition that the first groups of dreamers lived like 50,000 years ago in the place that now is Teotihuacan, where the moon and the sun pyramid is, and that they were named like the people of the halo of the moon. From the lineage that I learned from my teacher, at least that is the Tol lineage, he says that it has been passed from master to student like from 1,460 years. At least when he found me. So it is like 10 years. So it will be like 147 now. And actually it's interesting because we have like all the name of the lineage, like this one chose this one, taught this one, and this one to this one, and this one, and this one. There were also ladies in the lineage. And of course it should be, it is practiced in close groups, but there was like the prophecy of the opening of these lineages of dreaming and of knowledge with the sixth sun that is starting just now. So people like me, like others, are opening the old knowledge for everyone.
All right. Thank you for addressing that question. Here's one from Natalie. I'm sure you get this question all the time. Natalie says, most of the time, I don't recall my dreams. She says she sleeps very deeply, and it's like blank from the moment she falls asleep until she wakes up in the morning. And so she's worried that it might be difficult for her to join the program and participate if she can't remember her dreams. So for Natalie and others like her, what do you recommend?
Of course, a lot of people, for example, tells you, I don't dream, for example, at all, or I don't remember my dreams. But it's also asking the people, when did you try to recall them? When did you try to remember them? Because there are like certain techniques in order, for example, we must know that the memory of dreams is like it goes backwards. So, for example, there are techniques like before moving, before going to the toilet or whatever you do when you wake up, you go to and that you are in a state that is called hypnopompic, like to begin recalling, like what was I dreaming, what happened before, what happened before, what happened before, where did it start. There are others. Then take me to the previous dream. What happened before? And you should do, because more or less we have 8 cycles of dreaming per night, so it must be done eight times. Sometimes you don't receive any answer for the first dreams, but you get from the last dreams, that would be like the first to be recalled. But you get from the first ones that are the last ones. And that is one technique. There is also other technique, like to quickly stand up and then go backwards with your feet, walking backwards, like Michael Jackson, and asking to have the recapitulation of the night in order to see which one works for you more. Also, we will be covering like techniques in which we will be entering in lucidity directly. That is called conscious sleeping, that instead of falling asleep in the normal way, that is like having this blackout, is to learn how to slow the heart and all the frequencies of your brain and everything in order to enter directly to the dreams.
Okay, perfect. I think that's very helpful. Thank you for that. Now, we've got some questions about the sixth sun, which you talked about in your previous conversation with Stephen Dinan. So Tanya is wondering, what are the strongest qualities that characterize the sixth sun, and what can we recognize to cultivate and to get the best out of this new cycle?
Okay, the suns, for the people that don't have an idea, are periods of time, like the long count of the Aztec. That is not really Aztec, because it is the inheritance of the Teotihuacans, Toltecs, and Aztec culture. It's of 26,500 years, and that is split into 4, because the main measure for the ancient Nahua cultures was the 4, like the 4 elements or 4 phases of the moon, and that gives you periods of 6,625 years that are named suns. Metaphorically, all of them correspond to a main time of the day. For example, there are like suns that represent metaphorically, like I said, from the dawn to midday, others from midday to the sunset, from the sunset to the night, and others from midnight to the dawn. So this one that is starting will be one of those that is starting at midnight. So the main characteristics of that is that, like if we see when we are awake, for example, we are looking outside. So the previous suns started being like kind of awake, in which you are looking outside and God is outside, satisfaction is outside, medicine is outside. So, for example, those are very good for religion. Like if we had seen in the past years, they are very good for conquering even the space and other countries, because we need the satisfaction from outside. Also, they are really quite good in for example, looking for satisfaction in other people, and that. So it's much more like this external world that we were experiencing before this shift. And the new one is starting at midnight, so it will be something in which we are supposed to have open, closed eyes. So we must look at ourselves. We must look at our underworlds, or the things where we are trapped. We must look at our dreams, and they will take like the place that they should have been having, like the creators of our reality. They also it's more ruled, because the night is a feminine force for us, for many traditions. Like this darkness is the darkness of the Bible. It's also what we called the Black Lady of the skies, that was the base of the astrological sign Virgo, and of the earth. So it's a feminine force that also comes with the moon, that takes you to fortune, to misfortune, and with the earth. So the feminine forces will be rebalanced. And of course, the transition is being, because like we said, the feminine forces in the first way that they could manifest the imbalance that had been happening was through the earth, through lack of abundance, through infections. If we don't balance that, and we go even further, it will enter the moon, that will bring the people that adapt to the new order, and to this order of inside, to fortune or misfortune. And finally, it may happen with the night. So it will be a much more feminine sun, but of course not completely, because if not, we will create the same unbalance at the end with the masculine forces. It will be a lot an inner unconsciousness time. And of course, there will be like many problems. Like some people will use like their inner power to control others, like it happened with the outer power. But we'll try to get to the highest vibration.
All right, thank you. And I assume you'll be talking about that a lot more in the course. There's only so deep you can go in one of these short little conversations here. Let's follow up about remembering dreams, because here's a question from Andrea, who says, I always remember my dreams. I dream of those who've passed on. And what are they telling me? And how will this training help me acknowledge and recognize my spirit guides?
Okay. One of the main activities that were done in the ancient Toltec tradition was to lucid dream, actually, to get awareness that you are dreaming while you are dreaming, when with the people that pass out, actually, in order to get answers, to get advices from the ancestors. That was one of the, and those could be one of your guides, not exactly all of the guides. We will be creating, seeing all the map of dreaming, that, for example, it is divided like the 4 directions. For example, the ones that pass away come from, like now I'm seeing me like in the screen, but if I was dreaming about me, they will come from backwards of me, from what will be like the north, and the dead people come from there. Normally, if they are the real ones, it's a very, very not so strong detail, but if you watch to their eyes, they won't be like the normal eyes that they had when they were alive. They would be a little bit reddish, like the ones when someone takes a picture from you and the flash reflected in your eyes. And it's a small detail, but that may indicate you if it's the real one or it's a projection of your mind. Also, if you learn to lucid dream and how to go in a dream to your right, if that was the north, this will represent the east. The east is the direction of the guides of the sun. So if you walk to the east and you ask to get a guide, then you may enter in what in the place of that in the Toltec tradition was called of the Pipiltin. Pipiltin are like kind of angels or guides or teachers, but that's the Nahuatl world in which you could get wisdom. So there are many places. Also going to the heavens. If you learn how to go to the eighth heaven, that will be the yellow or the golden heaven, where the spirit of the sun lives. And the spirit of the sun could be like the guide that will show you through dreams your greatest destiny. So there are many places where you may get different guides.
Okay, thank you. Let me go back to something that you said. This kind of blew my mind a little. You were saying that when you're dreaming about someone who was real physically and now they're in your dream, you can tell by looking at their eyes whether you're actually dreaming about them or if it's just a dream figure. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah. In the Mexican tradition, it was said that the Nahual is the energetic body that we use for dreaming. And if the dreamland is a dream of darkness, not darkness like a bad place, like it's like not exactly with the light, it's like with the night and that, so that the Nahual or the energetic body of our dream body will have like red eyes. Not the problem with these things about the red eyes is that some people think that is like the Hollywood with the red eyes and that is evil, and not. It's a very subtle detail that is like if they took you with a picture and the flash lighted your eyes and they look reddish. And that is also when the person, that even if it's not if it's alive, if a real person appears in your dreams. Also, it was said that the Nahuales, or the masters of dreams of the ancient times, will appear with red eyes. And actually, then I found that it was not only a Mexican aspect, because I gave like 5 or 6 years ago, a very big conference in London that was in the Royal Geographical Society. And there were people from all the traditions, and there were people also from the Monroe Institute. And when someone asked about how to know if you were dreaming with the real person or with it was a mind projection, and I answered, then the person of the Monroe Institute told me, "Thank you, because it was the first time that I got the answer, and I didn't know what he was referring to." And then he told me that many times when people were like connected to the machines of the Monroe Institute, having out of the body experiences or something like that, they were seeing people with red eyes, and they were asking why there is people with red eyes, and they didn't know what to answer. So they found out through my answer, actually, that is from the Mexican tradition.
Wow, fascinating. Thank you for going back into that. Thank you. We've got some people asking about the course itself. Specifically, Paul is wondering, do you have to have good visualization and imagination skills to benefit from this course?
Not exactly, because this course It's about everything. It's not. It's about manifesting through dreams. So that is planting or sowing archetypes in your dreams in order to manifest. So for that, you don't need imagination and visualization. It's also some people hear things in dreams more telepathic. So it's not about imagination. Also, we will be seeing the kin or the Toltec yoga for dreaming that that is about moving your body and in certain types of breathing, and so many of the things. And recalling the dreams is not imagination and visualization. It's just remembering and learning how to cancel the ones that could create many things. So actually, it's not absolutely like needed.
Okay, that's good to know. Good to know. Let's see. Here's a question from Jackie who says, sometimes I get the feeling that my dreams are from my day's experience, my deeply embedded troubles and experiences, and I'm seeking answers for them. How does this work?
Of course, for the ancient tradition, the dreams create our reality, the waking state. But of course, what we do in the waking state helps, fits actually the dreams. So for example, if you are having a lot of experiences, I am a fisher and I'm fishing, eventually I will dream that I fish. So actually the ancient training started, not even dreaming, started with recapitulations about people that you dream often with, what you lived with them and that, or with emotions that you haven't, for example, solved. In order, for example, if you are full of anger, you will have a lot of violent dreams. So if you work with your anger when you are awake, in a way that I will be sharing in the workshop, then the violent dreams are minimized. And it is like that with everything. So we begin solving the things also in our waking state with certain techniques, and then to enter finally into dreams.
Okay, thank you. Now, here's a question from Laura who wants to know, how will this course elevate our ability to become deliberate creators who can usher the changes needed?
Actually, because lucid dreaming is only to get awareness that you are dreaming when you are dreaming. And many of the dreaming workshops that or movement that is around the world is about lucid dreaming. Novelism, that it was like the ancient, we could say, science of who I am really, about our dreaming body, is about creating yourself. That is why it was only taught to the people in power, the rulers, the warriors, or the people that priests. So all these things are in order to create yourself from. It's not exactly understanding yourself, it's creating your life in the way that you would like, and at the end learning also, because dying and dreaming is very similar, how to die in a conscious way and enlightened way.
Okay, thank you. Now, we talked about this earlier before we started the call about dream analysis. There are a lot of people who are writing in asking for, for me to read their dreams to you and have you analyze what they mean. So, because there's so many and it's such a big topic, I wonder, can you just talk about the idea of dream analysis?
Of course. One of the main things that we will be covering also in the course it will be dream interpretation, dream analysis. Why? Not in order to understand, of course, understanding, but in order to change the way, for example, if you dreamt something that could create a problem for you, then to change it. Also, in order to know what to do when you are, for example, in lucidity or in super lucidity that you are commanding. So the ancient culture, the things that saw, for example, in dreams, were that the creator is described like the one that gives life, measure, and movement. So, for example, if you see in a dream that something is coming to life, then you should see what is the dream about, and then you know that thing between 1 month to 1 day to 9 months is coming to your life. If something is dying, it's not exactly that the person is dying, it's that you will have an end to the situation. So see what is the dream about. Also, measure that normally people doesn't notice that. For example, if you are dreaming with someone that you really like, or you feel, or that impress you, or that you are fearful of, then those people will look bigger than you in the dream. And actually, one of the techniques of that we will be learning of raising your self-esteem is to make you grow in lucidity towards that people that impress you, or that is or you think is blocking you. Also, we look a lot in the elements. For example, if there is flat water, so probably it should be emotional troubles, or like it could be like the deepening in your own consciousness. Rain means purification. For example, in the skies, like it's the messages from the wind. If there are clouds, for what is happening in the dream could have blocks because the wind is not able to come and to bring what you need. Also, violent dreams are against, like, for example, the spirit of the earth, and they may take you to lack of abundance or to infections, actually. So we look at many of those details in order. That's why the dreamers were called like eagle seers, because you will see all the details in order to know what is happening. So it's like a composition of the entire dream, because with the stories, then also you must know, because, for example, if I am walking with my mother to the left, it would be very different than if I'm walking to the right, because of the directions. So to the left, it will make a shedding, something that is going to be lost or something, according with my mother. To the right will be like that you are going to the direction that something good is going to happen. So we look a lot into the details in order to have a dream interpretation. And that's why normally I don't try to do like the ones that people read to me, because they are not full of details. For example, if you were going down, or if you are also flying or going up, it's going to the heavens to see what happens. So in the dream analysis or interpretation, the last thing, the less important thing is at the end, the story. We must see the details, and then you will get like a prophecy of what is going to happen.
All right, thank you for addressing that. As I mentioned, there's quite a few people asking, so I appreciate your going into that. I just want to mention, if you're just joining us, we're here with Sergio Magaña, learning about his upcoming course, The Toltec Secrets of Dreaming, and it begins Wednesday, October 14th. And you can log on to toltecdreamingcourse.com for all the details and to register. So let's go ahead and get back into some questions. You mentioned this briefly, so let me go ahead and bring this question up. And this is also going back to the conversation that you had with Stephen. So perhaps for those who didn't see that conversation, you can give a little background first before answering the question. It's about the Nagual eagle dream planting. The question is, do I shift the image of myself in the water to an eagle with my imagined perception?
Yes. Okay, we saw like the one of the techniques that I will be covering in the workshop, that is dream planting. That there are different ones, but the main one that first, for example, for dreaming and that, first we go to the left and we destroy any obstacle that we may have in order to lucid dream or to access our dream, like breathing in with your nose and breathing out, counting 13. Then we go to the right profile, and then we destroy any obstacle, any dreams that could block that, and also the patterns of ancestors of 7 generations that could be blocking that. Then we go up, and then we are going to destroy like any cosmic energy that could be blocking or obstaculizing our dreaming. And then we go looking down, and is to disappear our reflection. And then like the one that like the question, yes, it's really like to visualize that your reflection disappeared, and instead of your reflection appears the reflection of the eagle, that you shape shift into the eagle. But actually in this like beginner's path, we do it like that. But for example, when I do my long-term schools, or in the way that I learned later, you really do it in the water or in the mirror. You disappear by moving the eyes, and then you get other position with your eyes in order to make shape shift. For example, from your nose, it gets the peak, and then you get the shape of the eagle. So we really do it in the advanced levels, but in the beginning, we are just visualizing.
Okay, great. And we do actually have many people asking, will you be leading guided journeys or practices during the course itself?
Yeah, I actually am not a very theoretical person. Everything is about practices. I love practices. and we will be doing like the conscious sleeping ones. We will be doing dream planting with these with many archetypes. We will be guiding the ones in which you begin doing like the composition. We will be practicing like exercises in lucidity, like entering in conscious sleeping. We will be guiding the ones like to fall asleep for the hypnagogic. So I think that more than half or 2/3 of the workshop are about practice.
Okay, and then how about interaction? Will you be taking questions from people, or will it be predominantly lecture?
No, we will be doing like the lecture, then the practice, and then finally we will be taking like questions. That normally I take them at the end, because after the practice, normally people has, if you just finish the theory, tons of questions. But after we do the practice, almost no one has questions, because everything was like kind of explained during the practice. So after the theory and the practice, we will be getting questions and answers.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So here's another question. For people who hear messages and not necessarily see them, how will they know that these are actually messages and not a projection of the mind?
But when they hear messages awake or during their dreams, and that to know, because in dreams, most of the messages are telepathic. So you will be hearing you will be hearing things that people don't talk. What do you think? There is very rare that people see someone moving the mouth and talking. So it's not very common. So normally all the things that happen are telepathic. But for example, if people is talking about channeling or other things, the way to know it is, for example, if you're doing an EEG, in which brain waves you are, in order to know that if it's a projection of your mind or if it's a real message. But in dreams it's quite easy because everything is telepathical.
Okay, thank you for answering that one. This is from Melissa, who says, I've noticed that there are times lately where I feel like I'm in someone else's dream. Is this something that you've ever heard of before?
Sorry, can you repeat it again? That she met?
Yeah, she says that she feels like she's in someone else's dream. Like perhaps when she's dreaming, it's not her own dream, it's somebody else's dream.
That may happen. But if she's dreaming about that, it's not only the dream of the other person, it's a common dream. For example, once that you have learned how to be in your own dream, then you can make appointments with other people to meet in certain dreams and to do practices together. And then even when you are more advanced, you do it with the people, with a group of people too, to meet in the dream and to make ceremony. Of course, you give like the very few details, and then people see the things. And if they, for example, you may say, well, okay, we will meet in the pyramid, and then people said, yeah, and it came like a jaguar or an eagle or other things, or it was raining, and then people begin giving like common details. So of course, because there is a pyramid of dreams, so from with 9 levels for our tradition. For example, the first 4 levels are individual dreams, but from the 5th to the 9th, you can go to collective dreams. And for example, the one of the spider web of the great mother spider, that could be one way of looking at that, or the quantum field or whatever. It's like the one of the collective dream, and then you can meet with other people.
Oh, fascinating. Thank you so much for this. I'm learning so much from this conversation. Thank you. Here's a question from Linda, who says, this is a little long, so give me a second to read it out. She says, what are some ways you can protect yourself when encountering extra-dimensional beings in a lucid dream? These have been increased in recent months, and my experiences have not been negative, but I sense that I need to work with some type of sovereign protocol to ensure that I'm empowered and protected in these realities.
Of course. Before going to out-of-the-body experiences and that, we must raise our vibration, no? So that the plan is to begin to start planting your dreams, to become, to clear your thoughts and everything and how you feel in order to meet friendly entities outside of you. But of course, there will be others. So, for example, one thing that we use in the tradition, because mainly the heavy energy is going to enter through your navel. So if we are going to experience the out-of-the-body experiences or dreams in the underworlds and that, the protection that we use is like to put a black seed. It can be corn, it can be a watermelon seed or whatever, in your navel. And you can put it just with a tape, and that protects you, absorbs the bad energy in order that it may not affect you or flower.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. Another fascinating piece of information. I'm looking at the clock here. We have time for a few more questions, but before we take those, I want to give a few details about the course itself. Again, it's called the Toltec Secrets of Dreaming, and this is going to be a fascinating 7-week journey with Sergio and his expert guidance, where you'll delve deep into ancient Toltec dream tradition. Try saying that 6 times fast. You'll dive into the tradition and its dream states, practices, and symbols to navigate the life of your dreams. And the 7-week course takes place on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific, beginning Wednesday, October 14th. And as I mentioned earlier, if you can't join us live, that's fine, because you won't miss any of the teachings. Everything is recorded. You'll receive audio and video recordings, transcripts, and all course handouts on your course homepage, which is where everything lives. You get to keep the files forever. It doesn't expire. Also, I want to remind everybody that we offer a no-risk money-back guarantee on all of our courses, giving you a full 2 weeks until October 28th in this case to make sure that you absolutely love it. And as an added option, all participants are welcome to connect in a private Facebook community group so you can connect with one another. Also, everyone who registers receives the Toltec Secrets of Dreaming bonus collection. First, you'll receive a recorded session with Sergio from the upcoming 2020 DreamWorks Summit entitled The Dream of the Cosmos. And next, you'll get an audio dialogue with Sergio and Michael Stone called Tapping into Your Caves of Power. And then you'll receive 2 chapters, one audio and one a PDF from Sergio from the Real Toltec Prophecies collection. And when you register by midnight Pacific on Thursday, October 8th, you receive this extra gift, recordings and transcripts of the top 5 sessions from the DreamWorks Summit 2019. So before we get back into viewer questions, Sergio, let me ask you, what are you most looking forward to sharing in your upcoming course?
I look to share because I remember very clear that in my first lesson with one of my teachers, he told me the one that doesn't remember his or her dreams is like a living death, because has no control of the waking of his or her waking state. In that moment, probably I didn't believe it at all. I said, okay, it's very important what you feel, what you think, what you, how you speak, all these kind of things. And then he told me that everything of that depended of what you dreamt. I couldn't say yes, I couldn't say no. And then he said something that it was quite logical, that's why in all the languages of the world is hidden like this kind of affirmations that the girl of my dreams, the house of my dreams, my worst nightmare, things like that refers that you previously had to dream that. In that time, like I said, I wasn't totally convinced. But then when I was practicing on that, I saw that it was really, really truth that your dreams are like, you see the people that you are going to meet and that are important for you. You create your reality through there, even the problems that you are going to have that sometimes you don't hear. So it is like a fascinating knowledge, and also you gain a second life, because it's like the waking life and the dreaming life that of course they interact, because there are like 20 something years that an average age people spend sleeping, and they could be just approaching like in a blackout, or you can really make the use of that to improve both lives and of course to gain like a new existence.
All right. Now, you mentioned nightmares while you're talking just then, and we haven't talked about that yet. So actually, we've got a question here from Carol who says, why are my dreams so weird lately? But while we're on the topic, let's talk about disturbing dreams. What do they mean to you, and what can we do about them? Because
also before classifying the dreams exactly like nightmares or something, we must learn a little bit of interpretation. For example, like I told you, dying in dreams, at least in our tradition, it's a very good thing because it means that you are going to change in that aspect. So sometimes the nightmare could be like that you are, for people, that would be a nightmare that could be a good sign, because actually it refers to a change that you are going to experience in a certain situation. For example, I think that a lot of people have experienced that sometimes you dream that you are falling away, you're falling down, and then you wake up. That is like the alarm of our unconsciousness, because every time that we go down or we fall, you are going to the underworlds and to the places where your mind is trapped, where your repetitive patterns happen, your suffering dreams and that. So many of the ways of working with that is, of course, like I said, there are ways of dealing with your violence or with your anger in order to work with that. If you are more advanced dreaming, for example, if you are able to detach from, for example, a disturbing dream, and to see which part of the dream or which part of yourself is feeding itself with that, and then it will appear in the dream. Then you are doing a very deep psychology into yourself to see if your depression or your of your rage is being fed with the content of the dream. Then it automatically deactivates the power of those dreams. So dreaming can be like fascinating in all the areas.
Yeah, indeed, absolutely. Now, Jackie here says, she says, first, thank you. This is really beautiful information. It's greatly appreciated. Her question is, can we use this technique to go into the Akashic Records?
Yeah, we didn't have like exactly in the tradition Akasha Records, but we have like a heaven that we will be covering. That is the heaven of the star. That is where is your guidance star that has all the consciousness of everything that you need to know. So there, it could be very similar to the Akasha Records, where you can get all the information of your soul and of what has happened.
All right, thank you. This is a question from Louisa, who says, sometimes when I dream, I have healing experiences or out-of-body experiences where it feels like I'm levitating and spinning in many different directions all at once. I don't fully understand what's happening or how it's happening. Does Nahualism have any explanation for this type of experience?
Yeah, of course, there is like lucid dreams that are happening in your mind, out of the body experiences in which part of your energetic body has left your body, and that normally you see yourself from above. You see the sleeping body. That would be one of the reality checks for that. And actually, we have like techniques to induce it, to induce the vibrational state, and then how to exit from your body. That those are different experiences, and that can be used for different things.
All right, great. Now, I love this question because you and I were talking about this before we came on the air. Karen's wants to know about your Catholic upbringing and how did it conflict with your work now in these dreaming techniques?
Okay, the Catholic upbringing. The thing is that I come from a Catholic family, traditional family. But my mother worked and she studied, so I was raised by a nanny that she was the daughter of the healer of an indigenous group that they are named the Otomis, that they live very close to Mexico City. So actually, she raised me, and she was also my nanny Catholic, but she kept doing like this egg cleansing. Actually, that was the first time that I heard that dreams could create your reality, because she told me that the egg that she was using to cleanse me, the dream of that egg was to become a chicken, and that wasn't going to happen. So that it was going to be used in order that my dreams bad dreams didn't come to life. That's what I was 6 or 7, but the first time that I heard that the dreams may come to life. Also, she was telling me, if you don't like the dream that you have, just turn the pillow and the dream will change. That actually it was truth. If you were having like what you consider a nightmare and you change the pillow, then it changes of dream. Or having open scissors under the bed in order to cut like bad dreams. So, and like she was also a healer with smudging and many things. So I learned since I was a boy that both things worked, like the traditional medicine, the traditional to go into the doctor, the things that were represented by my family, and but also like I think it was my nanny, the person that I loved more. So she represented like the indigenous part that for me it was also as valid. When I grew, I was a little bit rebel, and the common explanations that, for example, fit for my family, for my siblings, didn't work for me. So I started looking in many things, like from Buddhism, meditation, magic, and finally I found what I had started with, but that with a gap between, that was the Toltec tradition, but it didn't create a conflict for me. It created a conflict for my family in the beginning, because I was going with the people that were dancing with drums and everything and feathers in the main plaza, and I loved those things. So, but for them it was like we lost him. But now they're quite proud of how I have shared like a lot of the ancient knowledge of Mexico, how proud I am, and everything that that me with my teachers learning the ancient language and those things. But it wasn't a conflict for me, it was a conflict for them mainly.
All right. Thank you for answering that question. I know it was a little bit personal, but thank you. Here's a question from Lilia, I believe it's pronounced. What's best to dream of to help our world? Do we show how we would do it, or do we adjust to what's happening?
To help our world, for example, you may dream in the world how it is, and if you make rain into the dream, you can you start purifying the things that you may command. Then there are other ways. For example, if you dream about problems and then you burn them until they become ashes and then smoke, that means that it has been transmuted. And also, but for example, to dream in the way that you would like it to be, you need to know how to enter like in the future. That is one of the directions, and to project the image that you would like to have. But I think it's easier for the beginning to begin raining or burning things in your dreams, because in order to purify or to destroy the things that you wouldn't like.
All right, great. Thank you. Let's see if we can squeeze this one last question in because we're almost out of time. This is from, I believe it's pronounced Samuel. What about people who are nocturnal and dream during the day and not traditionally at night? Does that make any difference at all?
No. For example, the nap time, the siesta time is as good as the second half of the night. You go directly to the rapid eye movement, so it could be done at that time. So I think it's the same, no? If you dream in a siesta or you dream at night.
All right, thank you. Well, this really has been such a fun and fascinating conversation. I want to thank our viewers for being with us today and for all of your terrific questions. Once again, the Toltec Secrets of Dreaming begins Wednesday, October 14th, and you can visit toltecdreamingcourse.com to learn more and to register. But before we go, Sergio, do you have any final words for our viewers?
Of course, I would like to tell the people to dream the world in the one that you would like to live, starting for your life, because many people would love to heal the collective, but they don't start by themselves. So dreaming start by yourself, fixing your life, then your family, your lineage, your ancestors, and then you may go to make a flowering world of the collective. And it's a very, very important tool to achieve that.
All right, beautiful. Well, thank you again, Sergio. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you for spending some time with us.
For me too. Thank you, everyone.
And once again, I want to thank everyone who joined us today. On behalf of all of us at the Shift Network, I wish you well and look forward to having you on this course or perhaps another one in the future. Have a great day, everyone.